Now, this presentation might make people uncomfortable, but that is the exact point of the presentation, is to make you uncomfortable. And that is exactly why you need to watch it, because most people live in a comfortable state of mind, which keeps them stuck. Again, if you watch any of my videos, you know you can only grow in a state of uncomfortableness or in a state of pain, okay? So this is meant to help you. It's not supposed to be, pat on the back, make you feel better about yourself. It's supposed to show you why you're not getting the things that you want, but at the end of the day, how you can change your behavior so you can start getting the things that you want, all right? This is all going to be about the victim mentality, why it keeps you stuck, and how you can break free, okay? And I need you guys to understand this. If you have the victim mentality, which a lot of people don't even know that they have, you will never achieve any amount of success for anything, all right? So I want to give you guys a little story, kind of paint the picture. Everybody, I want you to think of everybody being born, and the people that were born with, mental health problems, or they grew up poor, their parents were divorced, or, they had all these bad things happen to them, right? They could have all the excuses in the world. I want you to think of that person wearing a backpack trying to climb up a hill, where the other person doesn't have a backpack and they're climbing up that same hill. It's going to be harder to climb up a hill if you have a backpack that has weight on it and everything. You're the person with all these problems, the person with the backpack. Now, you could try and figure out a way to blame the other person and be like, oh, he doesn't have a backpack, so of course he can reach the hill faster. Or this guy didn't have this problem, of course he can do it. Or I can't do it because I have a backpack of all these problems, right? You can do that, right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't serve you because that backpack is something you cannot get rid of. Those problems you were born with, the mental health, your parents were divorced, you had these things happen to you. It doesn't serve you to blame other people or external forces because at the end of the day, you can't take the backpack off. You can't get rid of the problems. The only thing you can do at the end of the day is learn how to get to the top of the hill while wearing the backpack. Other people around you might not have a backpack of problems, okay? But it does not matter. It doesn't matter that they don't have a backpack of problems. The only thing that matters is that you have the backpack of problems and you have to figure it out how to get to the top of the hill with the backpack, where other people might have advantages, they don't have the backpack. I need you guys to start understanding how it doesn't matter what problems you have in your life. Everybody has problems. It's simply about what can you do to figure out life with your backpack of problems, okay? And the moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim is the moment your life begins to move forward. What happens to you, again, doesn't matter. It's only about how you respond. So if you think about you have all these problems. You grew up short, you're unattractive, your parents had bad food in the house, you're overweight, you grew up poor, your parents were divorced. You can blame all these things, right? That's your backpack of problems. But at the end of the day, you can't get rid of the backpack of problems. So you can either blame the backpack of problems that you have, or you can figure out how to get to the top of the hill with the backpack of problems. But there's only one option. You either stay at the bottom of the hill because you have all these excuses, you have the backpack of problems, or you figure out how to get to the top of the hill with those problems. But at the end of the day, the people that don't have a backpack, they have a better life, or you're looking at, this person has this because of that, or that person has this because of that. It doesn't help you in any way. So once you can understand that you have to take responsibility is the moment your life will move forward. Okay? Now let's define the victim mindset. A victim mindset is a way of thinking where a person believes that they have little control over their life. They blame external factors for their problems and they avoid taking responsibility for change. Okay? It's essentially that they have no control over what happens to them. They blame external forces for their life. Now, when you think of it like this, it's basically saying, I have all these problems, so I can't do what that person did. Or I have all these problems, so I'm not able to achieve this goal. It's like, bro, you're a grown ass man. Stop being, right here, stop being a bitch ass nigga. Like, when are you going to grow up and understand that everybody has problems and nobody can help you besides you? Everybody has their own backpack of problems and their own hill they have to climb. You can't get rid of the backpack. You can't get rid of it. Stop trying to figure out a way to get rid of the backpack. You have the problems. They may not have been your fault that you have these problems. You might have had divorced parents. You might have grew up poor. but you can't get rid of the backpack. That's your backpack of problems. Now, you have to figure out how to get to the top of the mountain while carrying this backpack of problems. That's the only option you have. Or you let the backpack of problems weigh you down and you just never get to the top of the hill. There's only one or two choices, all right? And most people have the victim mindset. It's like, bro, so many people come to me and they're trying to get in shape or they're trying to build, a better life for themselves and they're trying to build a mentality, which I love. I love helping people. But it's like they have so many excuses like I don't have time or I can't meal prep or I don't know how to cook. It's like, bro, those are your backpack of problems. You don't have time, you can't meal prep, you can't cook, right? You're being a bitch ass nigga. That is your backpack of problems. You have to figure out how to get to the goal with those problems, or you just won't have the goal. And if you live in the victim mindset, you're going to be like, oh, I can't cook, or I can't meal prep, or I can't do this. And you're just never going to get in the shape that you want. Or you're going to be like, you want to start a business and I'm not tech savvy, or, I'm not good with computers, or I hate posting online, or I'm shy, or whatever excuse that you have. It doesn't matter that you're shy. It doesn't matter that you're tech savvy. Those are your problems you were born with. You were born as an introvert. So if you want to start posting on social media, it doesn't matter if you're an introvert. You have to figure out how to do it either way. Or you just won't post on social media. Okay? So everyone has their own backpack of problems. You still have to figure out how to get to the goal with the backpack. You still have to figure out how to climb the mountain with the backpack. All right? And that's what most people in the victim mindset don't understand. They think they're the only person in the world that has problems and other people got to a goal because they don't have those problems. So think of it like this. Two people have the same exact event happen to them. One person grows up poor, another person grows up poor. Person one could be like, I don't have a good life, blame the external forces. My parents were divorced, I grew up poor, so of course I don't have anything, right? But the person two was born, had the same exact event happen to them. Grew up same type of household, same situation, parents divorced, they were broke, they didn't have anything, but they figure out a way to do and get their goal, which may be, getting a stable job, going to college, taking care of their family, no matter what. So they both have the same backpack of problems. It's simply about what you do with your backpack of problems. Are you going to blame external forces and allow life happen to you? Or are you going to get it done no matter what? Right? And you have to understand there's killers in this world, bro. There's people that want to make shit happen. The people with the victim mentality, they're trying to find every excuse not to make it happen. They don't want to succeed. They say they want to succeed, but they actually don't want to. They want to take the pain away from whatever the problem they're facing. And I'll go into that in a little bit later. All right? So, one thing I want to say is your goals are indifferent to your excuses and your feelings. You need to figure it the fuck out. The goal of reaching the top of the mountain, right? I want you to think of it like this. You're at the bottom of the mountain, you're at the top of the mountain. Or no, you're at the bottom of the mountain and there's the top of the mountain. You're trying to climb, and that is how you get to your goal. You have this backpack of problems. It's excuses, feelings, you're unmotivated, you're not happy, you don't feel like it, you're tired, you weren't born with this other person has that, right? That's the backpack. Right here, I don't have enough time, I'm too tired, I don't have motivation, energy, they're more talented, right? That's your backpack of problems. You can either take those excuses and do something about it, or if you just use those excuses, it simply goes to, okay, then it won't work. What is the point of saying they're more talented? It's not fair. I was born with this. I don't have enough time. If someone comes to me and they're trying to get in better shape and I'm working with them one-on-one, I'm telling them they got to do this, they got to do that, right? If they tell me they don't have enough time to meal prep, I can simply say to them, okay, then you'll never get in shape. That's all you have to say, because it's like, what do you mean you don't have time? Your problem is you don't have time. That's the backpack. So unless you figure out how to make time, you will never reach the top of the mountain. You're at the bottom of the mountain. You're trying to climb to get in better shape. And how you do that is you need to make enough time. If you say you don't have enough time, instead of person one is going to say they don't have enough time, person two is going to make time. It's just a difference between what you do about your situation. There are so many people. There's 7-8 billion people on Earth. I promise you, you have the same problems as at least someone else, and they figured out how to make it work. You're sitting over here blaming your situation and saying you can't do it because of this and you can't do it because of that. Okay, then, bro. You can't do it because of that, then it just won't work. It just won't work. That's all I can tell you. Okay? You need to figure it the fuck out. You need to. Now, I'll explain why some people stay in this victim mindset because this is psychological. Why people actually stay in this victim mindset, okay? So, people blame their circumstances, they blame other people, they blame bad luck, they blame, all these other excuses, right? Because it helps you from feeling the pain. Again, the thing that I was talking about in the beginning of the presentation. You need to feel uncomfortable. But when you blame other people, you blame circumstances or bad luck or whatever it may be, it helps yourself from feeling failure, incompetence, embarrassment. So the excuses protect your ego and take away the pain. If you see someone on social media that has a better body than you or is more successful for you, one person without the victim mindset is going to be like, dang, how did they do that? How can I figure out how to do the same thing that they did? Maybe they're driving a supercar and you want a supercar. You're going to ask questions and try and figure it out. The next person is going to see that same thing and be like, oh, he got lucky, or oh, he had rich parents, or oh, he had this and I didn't have that. It's simply to protect your ego because you can do these things. You could get the car, you could get the life, you could get the body. You can do these things. But if you put it on excuses or you blame external forces, it numbs the pain because you're in pain knowing you didn't put in the work, right? So if you see someone else that has something that you want and you didn't put in the work, that is going to create pain within yourself, pain within your mind, because you could have the same exact thing if you actually work towards it. So instead of being in pain and actually working towards that goal that you want, you're going to use excuses to take away that pain. And then again, it's like the dopamine thing that I talked about in my last video. It just numbs the pain. And if you are numbing the pain that you're in, you're never going to grow and you're never going to get better, which is why it is so important to embrace pain, right? And it's not like, I need to be in pain or I need to, get hit or anything. It's like, no, you need to be mentally uncomfortable with the situation you're in to actually change. I always say this. The only way you make real change is if you're mentally uncomfortable. The same thing with the dopamine. When you're stressed, bored, or you're in mental discomfort, that is what you're going to do high dopamine activities like scroll or anything like that to numb that pain instead of figuring out the problem. So instead of saying, how can I do this thing that this other person achieved? You're going to blame external forces to take the pain away from you having to do the work. Because you have the potential to do those same exact things, but if this person had a rich parent or if this person had other opportunities that you didn't have, by blaming those other opportunities, it makes you feel better about yourself and it numbs the pain. So now you don't feel the need to change your behavior and actually go after what you want, which is why it's very dangerous to numb the pain. You have to be in pain to make change. Okay? So, another thing, why do you stay in a victim mindset? It's just exactly like what I was talking about. You have some type of pain at first. The first person blames external forces. When you're in this pain and you blame external forces, then you feel better about yourself. You feel bliss. It's like, okay, you know, I don't need to figure it out because this person had that or this person had this and I have that, so I can't figure it out. But then another person is going to feel the pain, feel the stress, know that they can do the same thing, take responsibility for it, and put in more pain, put in work. See, the problem is people don't want to work because it's painful. It's something they don't want to do, right? So when you feel that stress, that same stressful person, you can either numb the pain and, say it's external forces, or you can take responsibility and be like, damn, I know I can do that, so I'm going to work towards that. You know how many people tell me, I got blessed because of my genetics, or I took peptides or steroids, which none of that is true. But the reason they say that is because they're fat, they're overweight, or they're out of shape, and it makes them feel better about their life choices being out of shape, so they don't have to actually go put in the work of being in shape. It makes them feel better about themselves because they think I got it for some lucky reason, which is just not true. Now, you need to understand that your brain is quite literally wired for the victim mindset. The reason you stay stuck in a victim mindset is because you're supposed to, right? You're literally wired to stay in a victim mindset. Your brain is wired for comfortability. Every time it feels pain, every time it feels discomfort, it tries to get away from it as fast as possible, which is why you numb the pain. You need to fight, you literally need to fight your brain. It's you versus your brain. Your brain doesn't want you to see long-term success, but you know you want to see long-term success. Okay? So when you blame external forces, what it does is it takes away the feeling that is required for growth, which is pain. You need to be uncomfortable with your situation. That is how you change. But your brain is quite literally wired to be in comfortable positions. So it's a really hard mental battle, but you need to understand there's the version of you, there's you that wants the best for himself, wants to become rich, successful, achieve all these things. The only way you do that is by going through pain, and then you have to fight your brain that also might want to be rich and successful, but it doesn't want to go through the pain. The only way to do it is by going with this person. You have to go through pain. There's no other way around it. Okay? And for these video game people, I want you to think of it like this. The victim mentality means you are an NPC. Every time I see someone that has all these excuses or I can tell they have a victim mentality, I just think, bro, you're such an NPC. An NPC is short for non-player character. It's like in a video game when these characters don't really have a choice. They're just automatically set up to do certain actions. The reason I say that is think about it. NPCs don't choose what to do in the game. They just do what they're programmed to do. They don't have a choice to do this or do that. They just do what they're programmed to do. And that's exactly what the victim mentality is. It aligns exactly with what the brain wants naturally, with no fight or any choice. So the brain naturally wants to be comfortable positions. It naturally wants to always be comfortable. You have to fight that urge to always want to be comfortable and go literally against what your brain wants in order to go through pain and become better. Like I was talking to my friend the other day and he wants to start posting on social media. And he said he just can't get over that first hump. Like it's uncomfortable, right? And when you say it's uncomfortable, you're avoiding the exact thing that is going to make you better as a person. You're avoiding the exact same thing. Like when that came out of his mouth, like, it's uncomfortable or whatever, like that's exactly what you should be seeking. You should be seeking uncomfortability because that means you're going to get better as a person and you're going to grow. The more you can seek uncomfort, you will become a better person. So if posting on social media is uncomfortable, you need to do it now. If going to the gym because you're skinny or overweight is uncomfortable, you need to do it now. If eating healthy is uncomfortable because you like sugary foods, you need to do it now. So many people do comfortable things because that is how you're set up to be. Your brain is wired for that. That's why so many people are the same and normal. The people that become successful do exactly what is not comfortable so they can get to a better place. Okay? Back to the backpack situation. Even if it is not your fault, you need to take responsibility. What happens to you can be out of your control and it may not be your fault, but what you can control is how you respond, right? So the person at the bottom of the hill that has all these backpack of problems, that was born with these problems, that's trying to get to the top of the hill. It may not be his fault that he has all these backpack of problems, but he has a choice to let this weigh him down or figure out how to get to the top of the hill with the backpack of problems. So how you respond, either option one or option two, it doesn't matter about your problems, but how you respond is now your problem. Is how you're gonna make it work or you're not gonna make it work. And one thing you can always do that I think of is just ask yourself, what does blaming external forces do for me? Right? Or just like, so what? These two questions is what helps me get over these mental barriers. Like whenever I feel like I have a problem or I feel like it's not my fault, it's like, does blaming external forces do anything positive for me? Or if something bad did happen to me, it's like, so what? What am I going to do about it now? Because there's only ever two options. You let it weigh you down, or you figure it out with the backpack of problems. Just like this. Only do or say things that benefit you. If blaming external forces doesn't benefit you, what is the point of doing it? So you start over here, right? You have these problems. You're not smart, so other people are smarter than you. You weren't born rich, so these other people have this that you don't have. Or you weren't born with this. Or this other person makes a lot of money, so you say they got lucky. Or they have something you don't have, so you say I don't have this, right? Ask yourself, so what? So what that they have that? So what that they were born with this and I wasn't? So what that I don't have this, I wasn't born really smart, okay? If you ask yourself that, then ask yourself, are you saying you can't do the thing that they did because they have this and you don't have it? Like, are you admitting that you're not able to do that thing? So this is where the real nitty gritty comes down. Are you saying you're not able to achieve a certain goal because this other person has this? Then it goes to here. If you do think you can achieve the goal, which you should always think you can achieve a goal. You can do it. Then what's the point of this? There is no point of this if you still think you can achieve the goal. If you get to here and you say, I can't do it because they have this or they got lucky or I don't have this, then you go to, okay, then you can't do it. You just need to accept that you can't do it. Again, it always comes down to two things. If you still believe you can do it, even though you don't have the best position, then there's no point in worrying about the excuses that you have. Because either way, you have the backpack of excuses and you still need to figure it out. But if you're the person, again, a victim mentality that says, I can't do it, then you just will never be able to do it. It's really all a mindset thing, bro. The person that says they can will be able to do the thing, and the person that says they can't won't be able to do the thing. Okay? It really all just comes down to your mindset. But if you follow this, these are the excuses you have. Okay, ask yourself, so what? So what they have this? Am I still able to do this? If you can do it, then don't worry about the excuses because it doesn't matter. But if you say I can't do it, which I'll never say, and you should never say if you actually want to make progress, then just don't have the goal because you will never be able to do it. One last piece of advice before I wrap this up. Stop avoiding pain. Because at the end of the day, the victim mentality is about avoiding pain. It's about you trying to stay comfortable. It's about you trying to avoid the failures and everything like that so you can be comfortable. So if you want to grow, if you want to become the best version of yourself, it does not matter what excuses or problems you have in your life unless you can change them. But if you grew up poor, your parents were divorced, you weren't smart, you grew up skinny, you grew up fat, you were overweight, you had all these problems in your relationship, things you can't change, you have to figure out how to do it with that backpack of problems. You cannot get rid of the backpack of problems. Stop trying to avoid the pain of having those backpack of problems. You have to simply figure out how to make it to the top of the hill with the backpack of problems. And if you're living in a victim mindset, you are going to be the person that says, they have this, I don't have this, I grew up with this, I don't have that, so I can't do these things. So then you just won't do the things. That's all it is at the end of the day. If you don't have time to meal prep, if you don't have time to go to the gym, if you don't have time to do your cardio, then just accept the fact that you will never get in shape. But if you don't have time to go to the gym, you don't have time to do cardio, you don't have time to, lift weights or whatever it is, but you still say, even though I don't have time, I'm going to make time or I'm going to figure it out, then you will be able to figure it out. You have these problems of not having time. You have these problems of being overweight. You have these problems of not being able to meal prep or go to the gym. These are all the pain problems that you have, that the backpack of problems. But now you need to either figure out how to climb the hill so you can get in shape, or you let that weigh you down. So whatever it is, you need to seek pain and you need to seek uncomfortable situations, and that is the only way to get better. Stop numbing the pain. It goes back to excuses numb the pain, so you need to take full responsibility for everything in your life. Because at the end of the day, if you still have all these excuses and you're blaming external forces, then you are numbing the pain of the work that you need to do, and you'll never do the work, and you're going to stay the same. All right. Good talking with y'all. If you want to follow me on my Instagram, I'll probably link it down below. If you want fitness and mindset coaching, I'll leave my calendar down below. You can book a call with me. But other than that, peace.